Hi, welcome back to Ahead of the Curve, the Scoliosis Experience. I'm your host, Dr. Megan Teed. And my aim with this podcast is to empower people who have scoliosis and movement professionals alike by providing free, up-to-date information on scoliosis management and treatment. My goal is to improve the quality of life for those with scoliosis and equip movement professionals with the knowledge and skills needed to effectively support them. So welcome as we dive into this week's topic. This week, I'm going to be talking about clothing and scoliosis and what to consider. And whenever this topic comes up, I am brought back to when I very first started having a presence on social media. And one of the first reels that I put up was a reel of all of those things that scolios can relate to as far as clothing goes. So the underwire of bras, digging into your rib prominences in the front, having a spaghetti strap or your bra strap just like constantly sliding off your shoulder, the shoulder that's lower, and your prominence in the back, the bra just kind of digging into that prominence and causing discomfort. And it was very relatable, and a lot of people identified with all of the clothing issues that can come up with scoliosis. So it makes me laugh a little bit, but at the same time, it's pretty frustrating if you're not sure what to do about it or if there is anything to do about it. So today I'm going to talk about 6 things to consider as far as clothing goes, and just give you a little bit of insight on a couple of things that I've picked up on along the way, just throughout my scolio journey and talking to other people, my clients, friends who have scoliosis. And I think you'll learn a couple things. So the first thing to consider is avoiding wearing tight-fitting clothing. So when you are considering pants or even bras, shirts, things like that, especially pants with the high-waisted skinny jeans these days, which are really in style right now. They look cute, but they can be pretty uncomfortable. So with the high-waisted skinny jeans, it usually hits around the area of your front rib prominence, and it can be really uncomfortable digging in throughout the day, and it can make some of your scoliosis symptoms a little worse. Some people get rib pain baseline with their scoliosis, so add in a high waistline to your pants that are tight on top of that. It can cause kind of an exacerbation of those symptoms. So making sure that if you are wearing high-waisted pants, that they are a good fit, that they're not digging in and compressing too much. The other consideration with wearing tight-fitting clothing, especially the high-waisted pants, is the quality of your breathing. So it can really restrict you as far as getting a nice diaphragmatic inhalation when you're wearing tight-fitting pants and trying to hold in your stomach that whole time all throughout the day. Then you tend to transition from more of a diaphragm breather to a chest breather, because that's the area that is a little bit easier to move. And then the third thing, as far as avoiding wearing tight-fitting clothing, specifically high-waisted pants, is digestion. So kind of along the same lines as your breathing that gets affected with that tightness where your pant line is hitting. When you are consistently holding and contracting your abdominal muscles all day long, it doesn't allow for that nice contraction and relaxation that helps to propel your digestive system. So you're constantly in a state of contraction. It can cause bloating, it can cause gas pain, it can cause constipation. So that's just baseline. Even if you don't have scoliosis, wearing tight fitting clothing and the high-waisted pants, it can be problematic for a lot of those same reasons too. Consideration number 2 is you can also wear some supportive undergarments that can be helpful. And that is like a bodysuit or like a little corset type of thing. And those are helpful because a lot of them have some reinforcements in them that kind of act as a little miniature brace. And again, you want to make sure that it fits properly, that it's not too tight, because we run into some of the problems from point number 1 if you end up with an ill-fitting supportive undergarment. But like a bodysuit or a corset. But it can be kind of a good cue throughout the day when it doesn't really let you slouch into your curve because you have those little reinforcements, the ribbing that runs up and down the trunk of your body. The other thing is wearing a supportive bra. So as far as undergarments go, wearing a bra that, especially if you have a larger chest, it can kind of weigh you down and pull you forward and encourage more of that forward head, rounded shoulder posture. So wearing a bra that is supportive enough to hold your breasts in a good position, allowing you to maintain a better alignment, can be really helpful. And the other consideration as far as undergarments go, finding a bra that is supportive, that doesn't have underwire, is quite the treasure hunt. And I've been trying to search for one that is both, because usually you find a nice bra that's nice and supportive, but it has very uncomfortable underwire that digs into those front prominences. Or you find a really comfortable bra that doesn't have underwire, and then you are not having the support that you're looking for. I found a line that has been really good for me. Just as a reference point, I am a D36 or 36D, and I found the bra line called Honey Love to be really great. Actually, one of my past clients, Stephanie, if you listen to this, hello. She recommended this brand to me, and I was trying it kind of in my hunt for the perfect bra of comfort and support. And it is actually a V cut in the front, and then there's a V cut in the back. So it doesn't come up too high. Often with some of these bras that don't have the underwire, it comes up pretty high in the front. So you can't really, you're a little bit more restricted in the tops that you can wear with it. And then the straps on it, they aren't super wide, but they're not really narrow either. So I know from experience, just having that more narrow strap that's elastic, it can really dig into your upper traps and cause some neck pain and headaches as a result. So this has been a great choice and solution for me personally. So I encourage you, if you kind of have run into some of those same issues, check out that line. It's been great for me. And then the next consideration is avoiding high heels with your scoliosis. So I went on a date with my husband the other day, and I don't wear heels very often at all. And I decided to pull out these stiletto heels. because it looked great with my outfit. And I'm walking through the parking lot and I'm like, I am going to throw these stupid things in the garbage because I was only walking just a short distance from my car into the restaurant and I could hardly walk. And my ankle that I sprained, gosh, I think it's been like 3 or 4 years now that I sprained this ankle, but it doesn't bother me unless I'm wearing stinking high heels. And then, if I had walked any longer than that, I'm sure all sorts of fun pains would show up in my body. So I really recommend avoiding wearing high heels if you can. And if you do have to wear a high heel, consider wearing something that has a thicker heel instead of that thin stiletto point. Having a thicker heel will provide you with just a little bit more of a base of support to help with your balance and comfort levels. I found that Cole Haan makes some really nice heels. They're not exactly the most high-end fashion heels, but they're comfortable and they don't look like grandma shoes. So, yes, that would be my consideration for that. The fourth consideration, as far as your clothing goes with scoliosis, is trying to dress in layers. So not only does it help obviously with the breathability factor or the comfort factor if it's cold, but if you dress in layers, it can also help provide a little bit of support. So when I travel, I like to try to remember my scolio wedges. Unfortunately, I'm not always the best with remembering them, especially if it's like a car road trip or something. I just tend to forget. So wearing a jacket or sweatshirt over top can be an extra support and a substitute for the scolio wedges. I like to kind of put them at my prominence and like roll it up and put it at the prominence to help de-rotate. The other thing that can be helpful if you get a lot of lower back pain, sciatica, is actually rolling up your sweatshirt or your jacket and putting that at your lumbar spine at the lower back. And that helps to put you in your pelvis and your lower back into a better position so that you're not irritating your sciatic nerve, compressing and putting awkward pressures and stresses on your discs in the lumbar spine. So using layers can be very, very helpful. And then another consideration with your clothing is to make sure that you're wearing some breathable material with the clothing that you're wearing. So this is just kind of baseline for anybody, but especially with scoliosis, you tend to be more sensitive at those areas that are your prominent areas. So that is your rib prominence in the back, rib prominence in the front. It can also be a situation where you feel like you're very compressed and you're not able to hold yourself upright. So like your rib might be feel like it's resting on its hip, and then add on clothing that doesn't breathe or is causing you skin irritation on top of that. It's just kind of a recipe for even more irritation and frustration. And then my last and final consideration is finding clothing that fits you well and makes you feel confident. I know that this can be a bit difficult, especially with scoliosis, if you are feeling more self-conscious about the imbalance of your shoulders or your rib prominence. I just want to say first of all that you notice these things more than anybody else. Everybody is worried about the way that they appear and what's going on in their lives. So we are our own worst critics. So try and be kind to yourself when you are getting dressed and you're making your clothing choices. The other thing, kind of under the same point, is considering a styling service. So I have been using Stitch Fix on and off for, I can't believe I'm going to say this, for about 10 years. And I can't believe it's been this long. But the really, really great thing about them is you actually take measurements with a measuring tape as far as, what is the width of your waistline? What is the width around your bust? And, how long is your trunk? How long are your legs for your inseam? And taking those measurements and submitting them and getting clothing that actually fits me well, where I'm not going into a department store and trying to fit into, jeans that don't actually fit me well, or a shirt that is like clinging more to my prominence. It's helped a lot to have more flattering clothing, so that I can just feel confident and, go about my day and not have to think about things quite as much. It seems silly to talk about that way, but it really can make a big overall difference in the way that you're feeling, the way that you show up in your life, for your job, for your friends, for your family. Just making little adjustments in your comfort level and the way that you're choosing your clothing that you're wearing, your undergarments, as we talked about, the shoes that you're wearing, the swimsuits that you choose as well can make an huge overall difference. And I mentioned swimsuits in this last category of considering the fit of your clothing, because swimsuits, obviously, it's very vulnerable for a lot of people to show up in a public place kind of half naked in your underwear. So there's a lot of great swimsuit options out there that can help you to feel more confident if you feel like you want to camouflage things a little bit more. Wearing a swimsuit instead of maybe like a string bikini, wearing something that's more like a tankini or a one piece. There's some very fashionable options out there that I found. Albion Fit has been really good for me. I've found some swimsuits where I don't feel like my prominence is on display quite as much. And I feel good in those suits. It's a bit conservative, on the conservative end of things, but I enjoy wearing those suits. There's definitely some other ones out there. I think they're not coming to mind though right now. Athleta has some great suits as well. So hopefully you found this really helpful with your clothing choices, what to consider, what to think about. We talked about the fit. We talked about breathability, undergarments, heels, shoe choices, and dressing in layers, and also the fit of your clothing. Thank you again for joining me today. I appreciate every single one of you. It's important when we're talking about these things that we keep in mind that everybody's scoliosis is unique. So what works for one person may not work for another. So it's best to consult yourself. As my husband said today, you are the CEO of your own body. I, as a scoliosis specialist, I just work as a manager, and I help to give you some suggestions to work through some of these things and challenges that come up for you. I hope that you found the information and insights shared today helpful in your scoliosis journey. Make sure to tune in next week for more discussions on living with scoliosis and ways to support those with this condition. Until next time, take care and stay ahead of the curve.